So from a child, I remember watching Arnold Schwarzenegger on TV, on the Terminator. I remember walking into a bar topless, well, bollock naked, and demanding a leather jacket and a motorcycle. And he walked out with him and handed the arse to 20 or 30 outlaws. And for me, that blueprinted on me for the rest of my life. Arnold Schwarzenegger became my hero. He became a father figure to me. From that day forth, I was the Terminator in my own head. I wanted to look like him, I wanted to act like him, I'd read anything about his life, I would watch any film or documentary he did. And following in Arnold's footsteps is something that I feel as though I am doing. I'm using sport as a platform to go to that next stage in my life. I won the World's Strongest Man. I am now trying my hardest, fingers crossed, to get into the TV world, get my own series off the ground with a numerous amount of channels. I'm trying my best to get into the film sets. I'm doing acting lessons. And eventually, when all that kicks off, all being well, I would like to get into politics and give back to the people and give back to this world. So those are my goals at this minute in my life, and like I did with the strongman and like I did with my swimming when I was a kid, I will work hard and I will give it everything I've got. So a few years back, I did the Arnold's Ohio in America, and this was the first time that I'd ever been to an Arnold's Expo, and I was so excited to meet and shake hands with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And when I did, it was literally just that. It was, "Hi Arnold," we shook hands, off he went. Now, for me, that I just felt so disappointed that I didn't chat more, I didn't spend more time with him, but I couldn't. I'm just like everybody else in that scenario. And then a week later, after the Arnold Ohio, I travelled to Australia for another Arnold Australia. And we landed, I had tea, and then I got a phone call off one of the producers of the show, and I sort of said, "Arnold's coming to the Strongman Arena at 11:15 tomorrow morning. We want to do something special for him. How do you feel about pulling a world record deadlift?" I said, "Hell yeah, I'll give it a shot." So I finished my tea, went to bed, woke up the next morning, 11 a.m. comes, I've done all my warm-up lifts. Gets to about 11:15, and I just guessed that Arnold wasn't coming. He was a bit late on his schedule maybe, or maybe he had to skip us. So, I got wrapped onto the lift. It was 462 kilos for a world record. Started rocking it back and forth, and then the atmosphere changed. The sound of the audience just went dull. And I felt this presence on my right hand side. As I was rocking that weight back and forth, I just saw this pair of purple loafers appear on my right hand side. And I did my last rock, and I pulled that deadlift, and I did the lockout. And it was a great moment for me, because the first time I'd ever held a world record deadlift. And then I dropped the weight, and I celebrated with the crowd, and Arnold went to give me a high five, and I completely just didn't realize he was there, so I blanked him. And then I clicked. I'd done a world record, and then I clicked. Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger was right there, watching me do that deadlift, egging me on. And I walked over to him and we did the old Predator handshake, and he said, "Eddie, that was amazing, you are a monster, you are animal, you are." And we had this really special moment, and for me, it was the moment of my life, probably on par with one of my kids being born, maybe a little better. And 3 of my life goals at that point in my life, one was to win the World's Strongest Man, which I hadn't done at that point. Number 2 was to hold the world record in the deadlift, which I just ticked off. Number 3 was to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I just killed 2 birds with 1 stone. That was just amazing, absolutely amazing. And they always say, never meet your childhood heroes. But I can tell you now, he did not disappoint. So last year at World's Strongest Man 2017, 5 weeks before we're due to fly out, I had a bit of an episode at home. where I had to have an ambulance out and got checked over, and it turned out I'd given myself potassium poisoning, which is a very stupid thing to do, but it was a very scary time for me. My heart rate was like 150 just sitting on a couch. It happened in the middle of the night and I got really scared, and then a week later I had to do the medical for World's Strongest Man, and then the doctor proceeds to tell me that I had failed my ECG, which just sparked just huge amounts of panic and anxiety and disappointment in my own head. So I was asked to go and do a full echogram, which I did, and I had to wait sort of 48 hours for the results. And I can tell you now, 2 weeks before flying out for the World's Strongest Man, I'm waiting to hear if I can go and chase my dream, or I'm going to have to stay at home and twiddle my thumbs and watch everybody else enjoy themselves. That was a very tough time in my life, and it made me realize, it solidified the point that I was pushing the boundaries. I was pushing the boundaries more than any other athlete ever has done. For me to compete against Thor and Brian, I had to be beyond heavy. You know, I hit a body weight of 32 stone. And if you put that statistically, I was one of the biggest men in the country. I'm at most at risk to have a stroke, a heart attack, whatever else. My kidney markers were through the roof. My liver markers were through the roof. My hemoglobins were through the roof. And all these doctors were telling me to stop. Stop chasing your dream. But I couldn't. It's what I live for. And over the years, I suffered with huge bouts of depression. Huge. And I never told anyone, not even my wife. I would keep quiet and just struggle on. And I always said I'd either be on that World's Strongest Man top spot, or I'll have either died trying, or a doctor told me to stop. And the fact is, the doctor did tell me to stop many times. And with the depression and me wanting to kill myself, now I didn't want to do it I didn't want to do it in a chicken way. I didn't want to go and jump in a bath and slit my wrists. So my way of trying to kill myself was chasing the dream. Was going against the doctor's orders and chasing the dream of becoming the World's Strongest Man. If I died, then at least I died chasing a dream, and I died a warrior's death.